Alright, so I'm going to be lowering my triple clamp down the fork leg, down this the flat spot. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to sharpen up the steering, basically make the head tube angle a little steeper. That will, that basically causes the rake to be steeper, and it'll turn quicker. So the way it is, it's very neutral. It's very beginner friendly. This is a Honda meant for this bike to be a beginner bike, basically, more or less. At least in the U.S. market, anyways. Maybe overseas it's a big boy bike, but in the U.S. this is a beginner bike. And so they made it very beginner friendly, so very forgiving, basically, very forgiving for beginners. So I like my steering to be a little bit faster, a little quicker. So that's why I'm going to lower this down. And it's just 2 bolts on each side. I believe this is a 6 and this is an 8. Let's see, what other things could you do to make it steer faster? I would say that the tires, these tires here, their profile here, it's very round. This is a low-cost tire. They perform very well. They're very grippy, but they are a low-cost tire. And also, this is kind of the standard issue tire that's used for all the 300 class bikes. The Ninja 300, 400, the CB 300, the Yamaha R3s. They all come with this tire, so they have a very round profile. So you want to steer a little faster, you use basically super sport style tires, where they're more angular. The sides here are more angle. So if you actually look at the profile, instead of being round, it looks more triangulated. So where the center right here is more narrow, and the sides here are a little straighter, flatter. So those ones actually lean over really quick. But I don't want to run those tires because they're more expensive, but also they wear out pretty fast. This one actually wears out pretty fast too because these ones are very grippy. But the positive side to these tires are that they are very cheap to buy. Not cheap in quality, but cheap in price. So these tires are like half the price as all the high performance super sport tires. So as far as wear life goes, they last the same. They have about the same wear life, but they're half the price. So I'm gonna lower these down. The main thing is when you look up over here, you can't see how long the flat spot is, because over here, obviously you can see the flat spot. I don't know how long the flat spot is unless I actually take this holding off, and I don't want to do that. But if you actually kind of pushes this part of the plastic here, of the headlight housing here, you actually look right in here. There's about 1 millimeter or so of space. You actually look in there and you actually see the flat smooth spot. When you see the lines, the machining lines here, that's when you know it's not it's not flat and straight anymore. It's tapered. So the flat smooth part here is the widest spot, whereas all the other spots down here where it's not flat and smooth, it's actually tapered in, so it's actually more narrow than it is up here. So these are the widest spots. So up here I can see that it's flat and wide, but again, I don't know how deep it goes. As far as the top of your forks, how much space you have, I'm gonna say you probably have enough space to make this space right here, this amount down here. For sure, on the clutch side, you have that much. Clutch lever side, on the throttle the throttle side, you have a little bit less space, a little less room there. But I believe you could probably get close to this much space here. Okay, so I'm doing it right on, the bike sitting right on its right on itself. So I'm not putting any I'm not putting it on any type of stand or anything like that. One thing you have to be mindful is that the stock position, how the bike is angled when it's leaned over. It's leaned over. As you lower the triple clamp, the bike on the kickstand will actually straighten out a little bit. So you have to be mindful of that. So when you're parking and stuff somewhere, you're parking where the ground isn't completely flat, where maybe your kickstand is on the high side a little bit. The ground, instead of being level, the ground is a little bit like that, and your kickstand is on the high side of the ground. And if there's a strong gust of wind, potentially it can knock your bike over. So be very mindful of that. So that's an 8, and this is a 6. So I'm gonna do one side first. Just ease up onto it, a little bit at a time, basically. So the bike spin was straightened out. Let's see if I have space to turn this wrench, and I don't. Turn the back to the left a little bit. So I'm just gonna so there's it's at the loose point where I could actually spin this by hand. So I'm gonna actually, as soon as it stops by hand, I'm gonna leave it right there. You don't want to make this thing too loose because you don't want it to drop, because it will drop on you, and the bike will fall over. But I'm only gonna do one side at a time. So this side's a little bit tighter against the bigger nut, so a little bit more torque, I think it feels like. So just that, I could actually see the fork leg actually come up a little bit on this side. It came up, looks like 2 or 3 millimeters already, which that's actually a good thing. So I can tell. So let's bring this up a little bit. Again, I'm going to be looking down in here to that flat spot, and I can actually see, you can still see the flat spot in here. Yeah, I can see the flat spot, so I'm good. I'm still good there. I'll bring this up a little bit more. Check the flat spot. I always check that flat spot. So yeah, still good, still flat. I'm still at the flat spot. I think I could go all the way. Let's see. I'm not sure if the bike will let me go all the way. Okay, so the bike's not gonna let me go all the way. Remember, so the other side is still bolted down. So that means the other side's not moving. So you know this thing is connected. The two legs are connected at the axle, right? So the axle is gonna hold them together, bind them together, so they won't move. So I'm just gonna tighten up the bottom one, leave this one loose. Then I'm gonna move this around and loosen up the other side and slide the leg up from the other side. So let's do that. I'm still leaning over pretty well. Actually, where I'm having the bike sit is dropped a little socket wrench on the socket on my toes. Actually wearing some closed shoes toes, but I'm wearing flip-flops as I usually do. I always wear flip-flops, almost always. So I'm gonna loosen that side up. Just the point where I could basically stop with my fingers only. On this side, I can loosen this side up just a little bit. Oh man, that's a lot tighter than the top side is. Again, this is a bigger bolt down here, being an 8mm. Okay, so that's good there. So that's loose. So now we could actually bring this up. So a little bit of resistance. Let me loosen up this bolt on top a little bit more. So the point that it stops to looser, I will turn it a quarter turn loose from the point it stops. Same with this one. It stops, I'm turning it a quarter turn loose. That should be enough. Remember, this side is still being held, so the whole thing is not gonna, you don't want to do both sides at the same time because the whole thing would just drop on you. All that ruckus. You hear all that ruckus. Okay, let's see. So it looks like my headlight housing is kind of stuck where it's at. It's not moving much. Let me look at the top here. See, well, actually, it doesn't matter because the bottom side lets me see where I was at. So I'm actually okay. So it looks like this top and the bottom is, the right and left side is almost the same. I'm gonna tighten up this side. The main thing that's giving me resistance right now is the headlight bracket housing. Because the headlight bracket housing, it's not bolted on or anything. It's just a sleeve. It's just a sleeve with rubber, with like a rubber bushing underneath it. So that's what's giving all that resistance. So So yeah, so that's what's giving me all the resistance. So I brought it down some. Well, other spot where you can look to see where the flat spot up on top is where the bolt or the clamp, the triple clamp, where it splits. You know where the bolt is, the split of the bolt, where the bolt pinches. You can actually look down right there too as well to see how far your flat spot is. So I believe I'm still on the flat spot as far as I could tell. I'm looking. Let's see. I'm looking. Yeah, still the flat spot. I can still see it down in here. A few millimeters. It's enough. It's enough clearance for me to see what's going on down there. So this side. Oops. No, that's not too far. I don't want too far there. So I'm still good up there. Bring this all the way. Right there. That's good. I'm bringing it all the way until almost actually let me bring it down a little bit. I'm gonna bring it so that way I could just make out the flat spot, just barely make out the flat spot. I can make out the flat spot right there. Oops. So I can make out the flat spot now. Right there is good. Let me give this some resistance right here so I can hold it a little better. It's kind of jiggling on me a little bit. Right. Right there. Oops, shit, it's moving. Because right now what I'm doing is this hand here is, oops, you guys can't see my hand. So this hand here is pulling down on the tube, on the first fork tube, and my left hand is actually pushing up on the handlebar to give it some lift back again. So it'd be nice to have a third hand here to help hold this. Oh, you know what I'm doing? Now I'm actually using my shoulder, or the back of my shoulder on the handlebar. Back of my shoulder on the handlebar. And this side's pushing down. Okay, I can see the flat spot. Release my shoulder a little bit. So I could drop down a little bit further, right? Yeah, that's good. Oops. Okay. Okay. So that's a good spot right there. Checking back up here on top. Checking back up at the top here. Ooh, I might be past the flat spot now. I think I am. I can see the machining. So actually I might be past the flat spot. So actually I might have to bring the fork up a little bit. Let's see. Top one appears kind of hard to see because you only have a few millimeters in space. See it right there. Okay. You can see the flat spot stop right there. I'm gonna stop just before the flat spot stops. You can see like a few millimeters. Actually about 1 millimeter or so. So I'm gonna leave about a millimeter or so of space, I think. Or just about. Tighten this down here. So I'm right at the flat spot, the bottom of the flat spot up here. And this spot actually still has plenty of flat spot. This spot down here. So this is basically right at the bottom of the flat spot. Up here I still have, it looks like 2, maybe 3 millimeters of flat spot space. So that's good there. Tighten these ones up. Patrick. So I have no idea what the torque spec is for this. This is a 6mm, this is an 8mm. So I'm thinking this one is probably 15 foot-pounds maybe, at the most. This one is probably maybe 20 foot-pounds, 25 at the most. The bottom one nut bolt is definitely bigger than the top. So I have a few millimeters here. I'm good here. So basically this side's good. I could go back to my clutch side. That side's good. And looking at my hose up here, the hose, the cables and stuff, it's just about clear. So I just have enough clearance. It's perfect. So let's go to the clutch side. Do the same thing. Let's see. Side here. There. Look down here again. There are those flat spots down in there. This one doesn't want to come down. This housing on this side doesn't want to come down because I can see the rubber sleeve underneath the underneath here. It's kind of, it's like you have the plastic sleeve and the rubber underneath the bushing, or the rubber sleeve underneath. It's kind of bundled up. So it's not moving very well. Let's see. Maybe I should move it up a little bit. So that works. Nope, that didn't work. Look at the bottom here. The side doesn't want to move as much. I wonder if this is the side with a spring. I believe one of the things that they did with this bike to make it lighter is that the fork on one side has a spring, but the other side doesn't. I mean, I actually don't know until I look at the service manual or the micro finch, the parts finch for this. So I actually haven't looked at that, but I believe that's what they did, was put one side with the fork spring and one side without the spring. So I think this side has the spring. That's why I feel like when I'm moving this, I can actually feel more spring resistance. This other side, I didn't feel that. Okay. So again, I'm looking at the space on top here. See how much space I have left. Looks like I still have another 2 millimeters of space left on this side. Oh, right there. Oh. Right there, up that's it. Okay, that's good right there. Let's see, right there. I believe that's good. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. Okay. These up. Okay, so that's good. So the only thing I need to do is jiggle the headlight housing here. This side is even, this side is proper, but this side is not. It's actually kind of compressed like this because this side is not sliding all the way down because the rubber there is kind of bunched up. Let's look at it. See right up in here. So that rubber sleeve in there is kind of bunched up. And you actually see it right here too. See that? It's bunched inside, so that's why it doesn't want to move. So I'm gonna have to like kind of play around with it, just kind of wiggle it up and down, and hopefully that will work. That's it. That's basically all I could do. Because these two right here, the upper and the upper and lower clamp, you know, they move together because because they're on the head tube, the head tube lock nut. So these ones are not gonna move independently from each other. They will stay. The space will stay the same. It's just these two plastics part right here. So that's about it. So I'm gonna just have to kind of wiggle it around, and hopefully it will slowly loosen up and straighten itself out, and then it can move down by itself. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching.